Because there's many different kinds of melon bread. There's the bakery melon bread, and then there's the 7-Eleven melon bread, and then
the melon bread with chocolate. And actually, Yauco has a...
Sorry. Let another time. Welcome to My Hill to Die On, Episode 7.
Everyone has things they are passionate about.
Things we want our friends to try and experience.
So we've convinced each other to try different things.
And we talk about these experiences to see if we can get just one more person
to join us on our hill to die on. So I heard you signed up for the new hotness.
The new hotness? Yes. I have now signed up for Disney Plus.
There are ads on the App Store. I've been going to the App Store to update my devices recently, and there are ads all over the App Store for the new Disney Plus service.
Which is interesting because Apple also recently launched their thing.
Yeah, right? Mm-hmm.
So, but ad revenue is ad revenue.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, I wonder, because these are the editorial updates, so I do wonder if they get ad revenue out of this. I'm wondering if they're just writing up, because can people subscribe through the app? And is that the way Apple's getting the money out of this?
They can subscribe through the app, I believe.
So I wonder if that's the way Apple's getting money out of this.
Yeah. Well, it's questionable because I did not sign up through the app. I went straight onto the computer and signed up through that.
Mm-hmm.
And I do have to say that it is fantastic having that catalog.
Yeah, so is it pretty much everything Disney's ever made?
It's a lot. It's not everything. But it's a good chunk of things. I mean, I went through and realized that it was a lot of my childhood basically on one streaming service. They had Gargoyles. You remember that show, right?
I remember it, yes. I don't think I've ever watched it, but I think it might have been even on Disney Channel here in Japan when we were subscribed to cable a while back.
Well, I mean, I remember that show because that was like one of my Saturday morning cartoons.
Mm-mm. Do they have the 70s, 80s live action stuff like Freaky Friday or...
Yes, they do.
Apple Dumpling Gang?
Yes.
Even The Rocketeer?
I think I saw The Rocketeer on there. Let me just double check.
Because I don't think you can search the catalog without being a member, right?
Yeah, I just have to load up the app real quick. You said Rocketeer? Yes.
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea?
Well, let's see. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? Yes.
Island on Top of the World?
I'm not seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
I see Treasure Island. Muppet Treasure Island.
Boom shakalaka. Sorry.
Yeah. And then a bunch of ones like Easter Island Unsolved.
Uh-huh.
Because when you sign up for Disney Plus, it also comes with not only Disney shows, but National Geographic shows, Star Wars, Pixar, Marvel, Disney, pretty much whatever Disney owns.
Really? I didn't know Disney owned National Geographic.
Yep. Apparently, because it's on this service.
So can you see the Mars TV series?
What's it called?
I think it's just called Mars. Just straight Mars.
Well, there's Mars Needs Moms, Mars Inside SpaceX, Expedition Mars, Roving Mars, The Brave Little Toaster Goes to Mars.
The Brave Little Toaster. Oh, my brother watched that show.
Oh, and The Mandalorian. I typed in Mars, and those are the top 6 things.
There should be one called just Mars. It was a National Geographic television show, and it was weird because it was half a documentary of things we're doing now to get ready for Mars.
Yeah.
And half a fiction of what Mars would be like 20 years from now, us being there.
Well, there's one that's National Geographic that's called Expedition Mars, Spirit and Opportunity.
No. Oh, no, because those are the landers. No, this is different. It's too bad that one's not on there. It was not bad. I watched it.
They might just not have everything right now.
Mm.
But the selection is kind of amazing. I watched the original Muppet movie again. And I haven't seen that since we got rid of our VHS player. For the reason that I haven't had it since I had a VHS.
That's the one with the Studebaker, right? The Studebaker joke?
Yes, that is the bear in his natural habitat, a Studebaker.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
And also taking a left at the fork in the road.
I've seen those jokes. I don't know how I've seen those jokes, but I've seen those jokes and I haven't seen the movie.
Oh, it's a high-quality Muppet movie.
You know, that's the thing, because they had Muppets Take Manhattan and Muppets from Space on cable, and I recorded both of them because I'm like, oh, I gotta have these. But they didn't have the original Muppet movie.
Let's see. They have a decent selection of Muppets here. They have The Great Muppet Caper.
I haven't seen that one either.
Muppet Treasure Island, The Muppet Movie, Muppets Most Wanted, Muppet Christmas Carol. And then they have the TV show The Muppets. Not The Muppet Show, but The Muppets. This is the newer one. So, I mean, the selection on here is kind of ridiculous. Like, I could relive my entire childhood, basically.
They gotta have all the new TV shows too, right? Like, do they have Elena of Avalar? Things that my kids are watching?
Yes, they do. And I only know that because yesterday I was at a coworker's house and his daughters were watching, they were actually watching the Tangled TV show.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Which is that's actually a little bit of a serious show. It gets very high stakes in that show.
Really?
Yeah, it's a bit stressful at sometimes. The first season is not bad, but in the second season, it's a little bit darker. At least I haven't seen them solve the mystery that they're really trying to solve. I feel like it's a bit more for my eldest daughter than it is for my youngest daughter, that's for sure.
Well, if this gives you any idea, they also have the original X-Men animated series and Darkwing Duck.
Wait, do they have Howard the Duck? Is Howard the Duck Disney?
I don't know if it is.
He's Marvel, right?
He is.
But was he released in Marvel?
I can't imagine them putting it on here. There are certain things that I think they would send over to Hulu. And that movie, if you remember much about that movie, I think that is one that they would want to distance themselves from for the mere sake of appearances. That being said, they do have Flight of the Navigator.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. That one was a bit scary when I was a kid.
Compliance. For me, for Disney Plus, the big thing was a lot of the shows that I enjoyed as a kid, now having that access to pretty much all of those things. A lot of the shows, a lot of the movies that I just haven't gotten a chance to watch because they were tucked away in some vault. I know I started listing off a couple of them earlier.
Like the Muppet ones?
It's not just the Muppets, but I mean, it's things like The Great Mouse Detective.
Mm-hmm.
Things that I remember growing up. The Muppets, yes. I already mentioned Flight of the Navigator. But as for new shows that are really bringing me in, the number one is The Mandalorian.
Do they have episodes out to watch now?
Of The Mandalorian?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They have the first 2 episodes.
Okay. Is it going to be a weekly release kind of thing?
I think so. So far, that's what it seemed like it's going down. There's those things. And then, I mean, they have Rookie of the Year and The Sandlot.
Yeah, they're old ones.
So when I say things I remember growing up, I mean the things that I remember watching constantly growing up. Willow. They have Willow.
Wow, Willow.
Yeah. Boy Meets World. Escape from Witch Mountain.
You know, Escape from Witch Mountain, I think both of those were good. The old one and the remake.
That's not even listing the fact that they have so many of the classic Disney movies. So we have Sword in the Stone. We have Meet the Robinsons. We have Monsters, Inc. We have Sleeping Beauty. We have Beauty and the Beast. We have Atlantis, which, let's face it, was probably not the best of all of them. But, you know, Lion King, Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, the Goofy Movie. There's just so much of like my childhood, and I just love going back to those movies because they're just feel good movies. You walk away from it just happier.
Mm-hmm.
They also have things like Saving Mr. Banks, which was a good movie.
That was a good movie. Yeah, I like that one. But did they have the recent stuff too? Like, do they have Mary Poppins Returns or...
Yes, they do.
What was the newest remake they did?
They have the live-action Lady and the Tramp.
Already?
Yeah.
I didn't even think that was in theaters yet, was it?
I don't know, but it's already on here.
Wow.
But yes, Mary Poppins Returns is already on here. So they also have the original Mary Poppins. They have Sister Act.
That must be a Fox one, right?
Probably. Okay, I typed in the word little, and there's Chicken Little, Little Mermaid, Brave Little Toaster, Three Men and a Little Lady. That's what I mean, is like there's just so much.
I think Three Men and a Lady belongs at the end of that list, even below Brave Little Toaster. Wait, did you watch High School Musical, the series with multiple colons in it?
No. I haven't, but I'm sure it's on here.
That's one of the launch titles I heard. And I do think it's hilarious, the multiple colons. The person I was listening to at one point said, yeah, that's the title that's giving English teachers all over the world a heart attack.
Well, let me see this. Is it this one? High School Musical, the series?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. How many colons can you fit in one title?
Completely unnecessary. How did I get past some kind of review board?
I mean, there's so many colons there that you would want to take it to a proctologist. Oh. Wow.
Don't look anymore. Avert your eyes.
I don't know if I can. It's like watching a train wreck right there. There's just so much that I could see myself watching that I honestly could watch this for years and probably still find something new to watch.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they even have The Rescuers Down Under.
Oh, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm. I actually remember watching that more than I watched the original Rescuers.
I think The Rescuers Down Under, while the villain was scary, it was less scary, I think. The lady villain was just a little bit too much, I think, for me.
Mm.
Whereas, I mean, the poacher was pretty bad, but somehow.
Is this what I think it is? It is. It's the original DuckTales. Woo! They have Tailspin. I don't know if I need to say anything else. Oh, I do have to say one other thing. Ducks Fly Together.
I don't know that one.
The Mighty Ducks?
Oh, the Mighty Ducks. Okay. That's what I was thinking maybe referring to. Okay.
Yes, it's the Mighty Ducks. It is... Oh, the Mighty Ducks is not here yet.
Oh, really?
As I opened it, it said, coming to Disney Plus July 1st, 2020.
It's on some kind of deal somewhere.
It's on some kind of deal, and once it gets released, it's coming here.
Interesting that they have a page for it, though.
Yeah, well, I think they have a page for almost everything.
Mm-mm-mm.
Oh my gosh. Hocus Pocus. Cool Runnings! All right, I gotta stop looking at this because I'm just gonna end up listing off titles.
Well, that would be a service that would replace the need for my Synology.
Well, for me, this took place of my Netflix.
So you've canceled Netflix?
I have already canceled my Netflix. I have thought about how much I've been using my Netflix lately, and frankly, I'm not using it for how much I'm paying for it.
It's a good thing the Picard show is coming out in Prime Video.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is, I mean, I still have my Amazon Prime. I still have now Disney Plus. And I also, because I got the new iPhone, I now have a year of Apple TV.
Mm-hmm.
Although, to be completely fair, with Apple TV, all I'm really watching right now is For All Mankind.
Yep. The only other one I've watched is The Morning Show.
I haven't watched that yet.
I think you don't have to. I think I'm going to give up on it. My review is, it's not bad. I definitely disapprove of their excessive use of swearing. It probably mirrors real life for them, but to me, it's extremely excessive, especially when there are whole minutes of show where it's just a single word. But I don't know. A while back, I was watching a show off of Japanese cable that was rumored good in America, and yeah, it was good. It was maybe more edgy than I'm used to watching. There was a season in the middle that was very good. I forget, season 3 or 4. But then I got to season 5 or 6, I forget what the number it was. But at that point I realized, oh my goodness, I don't care about any of these characters anymore. Why am I watching this show? There are no plot lines that I have. Well, no, there was one plot line I was kind of interested in, but it was a very minor plot line. And I'm like, okay, if that's its only redeeming plot line, I'm done. So I just stopped watching at that point. And I think I've got to that point with the morning show. I don't dislike the plot lines as strongly as I did in that other show, but there's no plot line that's really grabbing me anymore. I think I'm going to give up on morning show. I've got other stuff I want to watch anyway.
When we're inundated with as much media as we have these days, really, I can say that I usually follow a 3-episode rule. I will give almost any series a shot for the first 3 episodes. And if you don't got me after the first 3 episodes, I'm going to drop it.
Yeah, and I was 4.5 episodes into the morning show. But when episode 5 of For All Mankind came out, I was on top of that right away.
Oh, yeah.
And it was good. I liked episode 5 too, so.
I'm not quite up there yet. So I have not watched that episode, so no spoilers.
Okay. So yes, Apple TV is winning. My kids like it because I did set up a few more parental controls on their device so that they only see stuff that is TV PG or lower. So they see Ghost Rider, which is a show that I watched when I was little, but it is not the same now. It is a different show. Ghost Rider, when I was little, the ghost lived in the books and then rearranged words in an already written material so that the kids could read it and the kids could solve mysteries based on that. From watching over my kids' shoulders, this one is different. The ghost brings characters from the books to life in such a way that the kids can see them. So the kids can see the characters, but nobody else can. So that's gotten them into trouble too. It looks like. So
whenever I think of bringing stories to life and things like that, my mind always goes to Wishbone.
Yeah. It's a little bit more like that, although I think Wishbone had like sets and stuff too.
Yeah.
This one's, the characters are interacting in the normal daily lives. So there's a bunch of cliffhangers because each episode is a 2-parter basically. So there's like, we watched part 1 and we got to watch part 2. But they have now finished the whole season. So they're like, when season 2 come out? I'm like, this whole platform's only been out for 2 weeks. You got to wait.
What? You mean I won't have the entire season 2 by the 3rd week of this service?
Yeah, they've also watched Helpsters, which apparently, I haven't read up enough too much, but I think some people who have made Sesame Street have moved to make Helpsters. And it seems kind of fun. I haven't recognized any of the guests. They look like they're famous, but I don't know them. But that's not a surprise. I don't know too many famous people. So Snoopy in Space is kind of fun. I liked the first one that I saw with them, but they don't seem to like Snoopy in Space as much as I do, I think. But oh well. But those are the shows they've been watching. So, yep, I'm liking TV Plus.
Yeah.
For All Mankind is a great show.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, I've only watched 1 or 2 episodes, so I gotta get caught up.
I haven't sold my wife on it yet, but I don't think there's any shows that I need to sell her on yet. From what I've heard, there are some shows coming out that I think she'll be more interested in, but right now there's nothing out for her, I don't think.
Makes sense.
Are you interested in C at all? I haven't watched C.
C.
The one where they're all blind.
Oh. See, the problem is I have so much that I'm already watching that I'm like, my time is pretty...
Yeah. From what I've heard, I don't need to watch it.
What I might do is, once I cleaned out my backlog of things that I've been watching, then maybe I'll go and check it out. But for now, I'm inundated with a bunch of new content. So I'm just going, we're going to wait on a lot of the newer things, simply because I have so much to catch up on now.
Actually, I saw on Amazon Prime that they have a new season of The Man in the High Castle.
Mm-mm.
I like that one a lot. Have you watched any of that?
No, because I wanted to read the book first.
Yes, you should read the book first. It is good. The book is quick because it's only 100 pages long. The TV show is good too. They go in a different route.
Yeah, I heard that, but it was one of those things where I really wanted to read the book before I watched the TV series.
I'm kind of thirsty, Ryan.
I could use a drink. Every single time.
Just change the words a little bit each time. We're okay.
Yeah, every single time. One of these days, we'll actually think of a good segue for that.
So, a little history on this one, because I don't think CC Lemon is as worldwide of a product as Coca-Cola.
We have mentioned it before.
I think so.
But yeah, it is not a worldwide drink.
No, CC Lemon, though, if you ever come to Japan, you have to try CC Lemon.
I would say it is the best soda that you can only get here.
I think so. Mm-hmm. It's a delicious lemon soda. Better than any other fruit soda. Better than any other grape or orange.
If you put any Fanta flavor, any of those kind of fruit soda flavors up against CC Lemon, I'm choosing CC Lemon every time.
Mm-hmm. It's not terribly sweet, I think. It does a good level of sweet and sour.
Mm-hmm. And it does, on the label, often say that it has the power of 50 lemons or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I'm always in favor of drinking down the power of 50 lemons.
Mm-hmm. I think it's 50 lemons worth of vitamin C.
Yeah.
But still,
50 lemons of power.
So today we have CC Lemon Rich Honey.
I am hopeful about this one because I do hold CC Lemon in very high esteem.
I know. I'm very trepidatious because I think, oh my goodness, don't mess with CC Lemon. Why do you make different flavor? It's like Coke 2. What are you doing?
Well, for me, I'm kind of thinking that this might be like a cool lemon tea.
Maybe.
Because I do honey lemon tea a lot, especially at this time of the year where my throat's not feeling the greatest. And I still need to stand in front of students and talk for like an hour and a half.
Mm-hmm. It does say on the label here, it's got twice the honey. Hachimitsu nibai.
I'm trying to look for the...
Where's the star?
Yeah, where's the star? Because there is the little...
There's an asterisk there. Twice the honey, asterisk.
Like, twice the honey compared to what? But, you know what? All this talking is making me thirsty to try a CC Lemon Rich Honey.
Mm-hmm. CC Lemon Rich Honey, even more honey.
Even more honey. Then something else. So, shall we?
Alrighty, here we go.
Wow.
Smells sweet.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Wow. That aftertaste.
It hits twice. You get the honey aftertaste, and then you get the lemon aftertaste.
Yeah. I just was not expecting such a strong honey aftertaste.
Mm-hmm.
I know it says Nibai, but...
Yeah, it's definitely got a honey aftertaste, and then the lemon aftertaste. It's very interesting.
Yeah. Interesting is the best phrase for it.
It hits you twice.
It hits you twice. It is very unexpected. So here's basically... CC Lemon normally has this very smooth, lemony flavor that is very crisp, but also very refreshing. At least that's from my opinion. Mm-hmm. Whereas this one, you have that same flavor, and then it's as if as soon as the crispness ends, you kind of get a wave of as if you had just chugged
a spoonful
like
of honey?
A shot glass, yeah. Like a spoonful or a shot glass of honey.
Mm-hmm. And then the lemon comes.
And then you have the lemon aftertaste after that. So it's this smooth, crisp flavor, a shot glass or a spoonful of honey, and then lemon. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I would say I still prefer regular CC Lemon.
Yeah.
But again, we've said we hold CC Lemon in such high esteem.
I know.
So, I mean, that's a high bar to compete with.
Yeah, you're messing with something good here. And don't touch my CC Lemon.
Other foods that I think people should try if they haven't when they come here. My number one would say you should try katsudon.
Oh, yeah. Katsudon's one of my favorites. Katsudon is fried pork on rice, usually mixed with some eggs. Very good.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, if you haven't tried it before you come to Japan, that's my like, oh, you should try this.
Actually, the Saboten across the station from where we work,
Yeah?
I used to go there a bit too frequently. And for a little while after that, I would get sick. I wouldn't be able to finish a katsu. Like so much, I don't know, the taste of the grease or something, but I couldn't finish a katsu anymore after going there too frequently. I think I've now swung around that I'm okay because katsu is one of my favorites. So
I know that feeling because I actually did the same thing with karage. There was a really awesome hole-in-the-wall karage store, and I went there far, far more than I'd like to admit. And after a while, I just could not make it through anymore. I started making myself sick. And karage is basically fried chicken. They're small chopped up pieces, breaded and then fried up. But a lot of times they can be flavored in different ways, whether that's salt or spicy, or the place that I went to actually had this really nice like basil flavor. It was really good, but I had it so much that I actually started making myself sick because I kept eating that, and it is more of a greasy food.
isn't it often with soy sauce flavoring? Could be wrong.
That's the default flavor, is soy sauce. Soy sauce is the default flavor. Like shio salt is another pretty common flavor, but after that, then they get inventive.
Yep, what's Ryan been playing segment.
So we're gonna set aside a little corner for an update on what I've been playing. Last time we did this, I talked about a game called AI. And I actually did beat that game, and I have to say that I really enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
Like I said last time, it's a good visual novel, crime solver / point and click kind of adventure. And I've played other games made by the same director, and I just generally enjoy all of his storylines. They are convoluted, but they are wonderful.
Okay.
But it is very much a visual novel, so don't expect much in the way of like running around. If you're used to games where you run around and like shoot things, this is not that game.
Can you go off track, or you have to stay within the storyline pretty much?
Since it's a visual novel, you pretty much stay on track. There is one path. There are diverging paths you can take, but for the most part, it is mostly you continue along these paths. It's not as open-ended as a lot of people might be used to. I will say, the ending scene of this game was excellent.
Oh. You would compare this kind of to a movie or a long-running series, right? Kind of more like a TV series kind of thing?
I would say it'd be more closer to a movie than a long-running TV series. Because this type of game, we're looking at maybe 10-15 hours. And that's if you're taking a long time with it, like taking your time, checking out everything, talking to everybody in a room, that sort of thing. You could buzz through this in probably about 5 to 8 hours if you were just not doing that. And I say that's closer to a movie for me because most games that I play, most story-based games, tend to be upwards of 30 hours. After I beat that, I played another game called Code Vein.
Okay.
I also beat that one because it has been about 2.5 weeks since the last time we recorded, I believe. Give or take.
No, 3. Almost 3.
3. Oh, yeah. So I also beat that game. That game is similar to a game called Dark Souls. It is a very action-based RPG that is a bit punishing if you don't think through what you're doing. It's fun. It is interesting. The art style is, in comparison to Dark Souls is very gritty, very dark. Code Vein does have that grittiness, but it's more of with a anime style art.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking. It is a very Japanesey type game. It looks like, right?
Oh yeah. I will say the battle system is very fun. I mean, it is very much a Japanese, almost anime style battle system where, yeah, you might be walking around with a sword that is 2 times your height and swinging it around. But in this game, you are what is known as a revenant, but basically that is a vampire. It is made by the same people who made another game called God Eater, which has a similar style of you run around with giant swords and fight monsters that are bigger than houses. But a lot of fun. Storyline was interesting. It is very much more of a story-based thing than the Dark Souls series, where the Dark Souls series, the storyline is like hidden behind walls and you have to kind of tease it out from item descriptions and things like that. This one at least does say what they are. So all in all, I did enjoy that game as well. Very much a different style than AI, because that one you are running around and slashing things with a giant sword. But I did enjoy it. And then the last one that I've started playing after I beat that one was a game called The Outer Worlds.
Okay.
And that one, the best way to describe it is it feels similar to a game like Fallout, where you are exploring a area and accomplishing missions and going towards some goal. It is basically a third-person RPG where you are exploring a world and you put your stats into whatever you want and you solve problems, and there is a variety of ways of solving every problem. So yes, you can go in and shoot the bad guy, or you can try to convince the bad guy to give up, or you can sneak in and steal the thing from him. There's a variety of ways that you can go about any problem. Honestly, the way that I've played it, it feels very much like almost a Firefly in a video game kind of feel.
Wow, okay.
That's the themes and the messages and the world has very much that kind of feel. And the main theme of this whole world brings out some of the problems with like a corporate world. Because this entire setting is basically in a far distant future where we have terraforming technology. Earth has sold off certain galaxies to corporations.
Okay. Interesting premise.
And you are part of a colony ship that is going to this one new galaxy that is owned by a conglomeration known as the Board, which is actually like 5 or 6 different companies who are all working together to own this galaxy, but they're also all competing companies.
Oh, so is there infighting within the...
There's some infighting in the Board. There's also very much the citizens of this galaxy all have like a almost fanatical belief in the company that is their patron, is the best way to put it. And so there's a lot of like people who are like die hard, oh, my company is the best and they're always looking out for us and they're always on our side, and yet they're ignoring all the things that their company is doing to them. And then, of course, because of that, you also have the side of the rebels who are like, oh no, down with the oppression of the corporations. And so you can choose to either support the Board and support what they're doing, or you can support the rebels. And you can do a whole bunch of other things. It's a very interesting world and setup. It's a lot of fun. I also do like the fact that I can choose to solve my problems in a variety of ways. Although, to be completely fair, the end solution usually ends with me shooting somebody.
So you're forced to do that anyway.
No. You're not forced to. I just do.
Oh, okay.
Because the way that I have built my character is they will talk their way out of a lot of problems, but at the end of the day, if they think somebody is bad, they will hide in a corner and shoot them with a sniper rifle.
Oh.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So that's the way I have built my character. But honestly, there are a lot of missions where you can just talk your way out of everything.
Mm.
But yeah, it's an interesting sort of thing. Regardless of whether or not you make your character to be like a full, like, I'm just going to talk my way out of everything, there are certain enemies in the game that you cannot talk to, that they just will not listen to you.
Yeah.
In addition to other things, there are still monsters in this. Like, the terraforming did not work 100% great.
Oh, there's indigenous aliens. Well, for us.
Basically, there are what would be indigenous aliens that might have been twisted by the terraforming process.
Oh.
You know, minor details. Those are the 3 games that I have played in the past 3 weeks. Most likely in the future, I will not have as many in this corner, because normally I take longer to play games, but...
You were close to finishing these already?
I was close to finishing both AI and Code Vein already, and The Outer Worlds is taking me a while.
Mm-mm.
Because I'm just taking my time with that one.
Mm.
All in all, I would say where I stand on all 3 is I would actually recommend all 3, but for different people.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
AI is definitely a game that if you are big into storyline, I would say AI or The Outer Worlds are both very good storylines. AI is 100% storyline and very little on the action, because you are doing things, you are making choices, and there is action in it, but it is not action in the traditional sense.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I was trying to figure out which one of these 3 would interest me most, and I think it would either be AI or The Outer Worlds.
Yeah, and that makes sense, because Code Vein is very much more of a game that is for people who like harder games, but also they genuinely like that kind of storyline where you are fighting vampires or giant monsters and trying to save the world by slashing it with a giant sword.
Mm-mm.
But The Outer Worlds and AI are very much more heavy on the storyline, and that is generally where I go with games, is I play a lot of games for the story.
Yeah, and I think that's what would attract me to that one a little more, because I think I would rather a game that is telling me a story, I think, than a game where I have to decide a lot.
Yeah, that is probably where I would say probably AI would be a better fit for you, because The Outer Worlds, the difficulty with that is everything in that game is a decision. And I almost have trouble with open world RPGs these days, because I have a bit of an over-analysis paralysis, where I will try to analyze every decision that I make and think about all the possible choices that I could make, and end up talking myself into doing nothing because I can't decide between which of the 7 choices are in front of me. Sorry, I just have to drink a little bit more honey. Mm-hmm. Ooh. The more I drink it, the less it grows on me.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. I am almost done, and eesh. The CC lemon part is good.
Yeah, I almost want to chug it just so like the aftertaste is only one more time.
Because I think it is a honey flavor. It feels to me like when you walk into Disney and you're walking next to Pooh's honey hunt thing and the honey popcorn.
Yeah.
Like it smells like honey flavoring. It doesn't feel like honey to me.
Yeah. I will say, like, that is the big difference between honey lemon tea and this, is you can feel the honey.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the honey lemon tea, the part of the reason I like it is because it coats your throat when you're drinking it. This feels like flavor.
Yes. It feels like it coated the top of my mouth, not in the way that I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, get off.
Exactly. So the media that we actually decided to watch this week and talk about is a classic film of epic and great proportions.
Underrated. Mm-hmm. Definitely underrated.
We, of course, speak of the classic Mystery Men.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have not seen Mystery Men, drop everything you are doing today and go and watch it.
Mm-hmm. And get your smiles ready because you're going to be cracking up the whole time. Especially if you have our kind of humor.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I highly recommend it if you have not seen it. In fact, if you're in the middle of your workday, call in sick for the rest of the day and go and watch Mystery Men.
Actually, I have to tell you about the first time I saw Mystery Men.
All right.
Because I haven't told you this story yet. So my friend and I in college, we decided to work for the college over the summer. Actually, I don't even know what he was doing, but I was doing the media job that I had done the rest of the summer. I think he was doing something sciencey in the labs. I don't ask those questions because he was very smart. So anyway, I'm sure he was doing something chemistry, something sciencey in the labs.
Something totally on the up and up legally.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And I was just sitting in the media center twiddling my thumbs the whole time. It was a wonderful summer and getting paid for that. But anyway, yeah, this is what we did. We came back and you get those things in the mail. Remember back then you would get, 13 tapes for $1, right? 13 VHS tapes for $1. And all you have to do is sign up for the rest of your life to this service and they'll send you movies every month or something stupid like that, right?
Okay.
Do you remember getting those things? You never got those?
No, I don't remember those things at all. Keep in mind, by the time I got to college, we were all on DVDs.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this was toward the end of tapes. It is very true.
And by the time I got to college, what we would do is we signed up for Netflix when they would send you a physical DVD.
Yes. Right.
You remember that?
I never did Netflix where they sent you stuff.
I also did Gamefly where they would send you video games.
Because I think that started I think it started when I was still in America, but I had left for Japan soon after that. But anyway, there were these things that you would get in the mail, 13 tapes for $1 or whatever. I mean, there was always a number. And then you would have to sign up for a while and you had to fulfill an obligation and then you could leave. So we sat down one time and we said, let's figure this out. How many videos do we have to buy to fulfill the obligation? How many do we get for $1 each? How many do we have to buy to fulfill the obligation? And how quickly can we be done? And does it work out? So I think I spent an hour on the phone with the guy. It was like Columbia or something. I don't know, some clearinghouse. I spent an hour on the phone with him, and I loved it because he gave me all the secrets too. He's like, "Oh, okay. Tell me what movies you're thinking about buying, and I will tell you if you should buy them in the $1 deal or buy them when you fulfill your obligation later, right? Because some movies were more expensive and some movies were cheaper. So he told us like, okay, this movie is this much and this movie is this much. This movie is $20. This movie is $13. So you should buy the $20 movie in the, select your first 13 for $1 and then you had to buy like 6 other movies or 7 other movies. And they would just send you movies too. So you had to cancel if you didn't want those movies. So we figured out exactly which movies we wanted from their catalog. And in talking to the guy, we figured out exactly which movies we needed to buy ahead of time. And we had it all planned out. We did the whole scheme. And of course, we got all of the movies for like less than $10 each on average. It was wonderful. How many was he buying and how many was I buying? And, we figured it all out, averaged it all out. And like, okay, you're chipping in this much, I'm chipping in this much, and boom, we're done. We complete the obligation. And then we cancel the next week. And we did it. And Mystery Men was one of my choices in this plan. I got The Matrix. I got Mystery Men. I think I got some Star Trek. Anyway, it was good stuff. And Mystery Men was one of my choices. So yes, this was a great movie. I had to own it. Yeah, I have since thrown away the VHS tape because there's no way I'm watching VHS anymore. But I got this movie on VHS way back when.
I think my folks had it on VHS as well.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got to college, I also wanted a copy of this, so I bought it on DVD as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say there are several movies that I have that I realize I've bought multiple formats of this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I know that my parents probably bought it on VHS, and then I bought it on DVD, and then there's others that I've bought on DVD and Blu-ray, because, that's what you do.
I'm kicking myself because 2 or 3 weeks ago, this was like $6 on Movies Anywhere. Well, I mean, Movies Anywhere was showing it at $6, and I should have bought it then. I don't know what I was thinking.
You chose poorly.
Poorly. Mm-hmm. I did. I should have bought it because this is a great movie.
It is. So, if you haven't guessed already, dear listeners, all three of you, this is a fantastic movie, and we both genuinely love it. So, where to begin with this movie?
I know.
That is the hard part, where to begin.
I think I'm amazed at how many actors they got in this movie that were either famous or have become famous. How did they get all these people in this movie?
I mean, you think about that, and yeah, some of these actors, I mean, Paul Rubens, Tom Waits, Eddie Izzard, Ben Stiller.
Yeah, William H. Macy was a big actor at the time still, I think, right? I
think so. It was just a vast variety of just quality actors. Yeah, I don't know how they got as many as they did. And also what amazes me is you get the Metacritic score and it's a 65 on this movie, and I don't know why. I would always rate it higher than that.
Yeah, I do feel that this is an unjustly maligned movie. Why do people not like it so much? I mean, there are some weird spots, I grant you that.
And I think it's partially because Mystery Men is, for hero movies, what Galaxy Quest is for Star Trek movies.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I would agree with that.
But I like that humor.
Because it does make fun of some of the tropes.
Oh, yeah. But it leans into those tropes to just say, okay, some of these things, yes, we know are ridiculous, but it works.
This did come out of a comic book. Have you read the comic book?
I have not read the comic book.
Okay. Yeah, neither have I. I was curious of how close it followed the comic book, if anything, or if, how does it compare at least to that? I was kind of curious about that, but...
That's a good question. I can't really say.
So I think this movie, the director chose a few interesting camera angles. I think a few times you're placed in the eyes of somebody, and sometimes to silly effect. One of the silly ones is where he's shaking the sandwich in front of the team, right? This egg salad sandwich he's made. Oh. And you're put in his eyes.
Or do I eat this sandwich?
Which is pretty funny. Sometimes you have some pretty weird angles, like when the Blue Raja is about to sit on his fork. Every once in a while, there are some funny camera angles thrown in that, to me, while can be distracting, I think, to me they add to the movie because they're adding to the silliness of it.
Yeah, I think that's the key for this movie, is that it does not take itself too seriously.
Right.
It knows what it is.
Exactly.
The villain in the final battle spends a couple of moments sharpening his pinky nail before he goes into attack by slashing with the pinky nail.
Yeah. Well, even Jeffrey Rush was a famous actor back then too, I think. My goodness. And he was great in this role. Just great.
He was a perfect Casanova Frankenstein.
Oh yeah. Wonderful. Yes, you can bring us the brewskis.
I'm trying to remember, because the main other thing that I've seen him in that I remember him from is The King's Speech.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen too much of his other stuff, but...
Oh, yeah. No, Pirates of the Caribbean, though.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I completely forgot that was him. But, those are the things that I remember him from outside of this movie. Oh, that's the other thing I saw Jeffrey Rush in. He was in Les Mis.
Les Mis.
Yeah, he was Javert. So yeah, he's a fantastic actor.
But I like that this movie, again, playing on some of the tropes. I feel like the Champion City, it feels like Metropolis to me, right?
Oh yeah. Well, actually, that's the thing, is in looking at the city, it's very interesting because it's such a metropolis because everything in that city, all the signage, have multiple languages on it. And it's inconsistent which languages. There was one sign that is written in French. There was one sign that was written in Japanese. There was a sign that was talking about how much something cost, and it had the sign for euros on it.
Oh, I didn't see that.
That's the thing, is that city was such an interesting place because it had the look of Metropolis, the look of Gotham at some points, where it was this dark, gritty underbelly kind of feel. But then in the same town there was the purple house with the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very interesting setting that they created there.
I think one of the biggest tropes that they played on that I thought was kind of fun was Captain Amazing, having his alter ego just have glasses, right? Like, same exact guy. Oh, he's got glasses.
Oh, yeah. We've gone over this, Roy. Captain Amazing doesn't wear glasses. Lance wears glasses.
Mm-hmm. And then I love it's me. Oh, I was just kidding. I always wanted to do that. Oh, good stuff. Yeah, like that was a great trope. And of course it's him. In fact, it's more unbelievable that the shoveler can't see it, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's holding up 2 coins, like putting them over his face like glasses, going, huh.
Is it really? Maybe?
Maybe. I just want to say,
yep.
Disco is not dead. Disco is life.
There are some pretty funny stuff.
There are so many good one-liners in this movie.
There are so many one-liners. I started writing them down because I was thinking, oh yeah, we got to talk about these one-liners, but there's no way we can talk about all these one-liners. There are too many. And there's so many quick quips. And I guess it is the style of humor that resounds with me, but even still some now too. Like, I love the line now, if you go out again, I'll divorce you. And he goes, that's fair, right? Of course it's not fair, but I love how he accepts it. Oh, it's great.
Yeah. I swear, if somebody throws up in my pool, I'm divorcing you.
That's what it is, right?
That's fair.
Oh, too much. I guess maybe he's put her at the end of the rope too much, so that's why it's fair. But still, it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah. There was that.
One of the next few lines I have is, yeah, my dad died accidentally as he fell on some bullets.
It was, my dad came home late one night and fell down an elevator shaft onto some bullets.
Oh, yeah, that one.
I always did feel like there was some foul play about there. As have I.
Good stuff.
And I mean, even the fact that Ben Stiller's character, Mr. Furious,
mm-hmm.
The one thing that I do like about this movie is his character actually does have like a character growth arc.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
They play it up where like the normal, like he's trying to be a superhero. And in trying to be this superhero, he's really diving into the normal tropes of I have to be dark and mysterious and brooding. I mean, he even introduces himself at one point as Phoenix Dark Dirk.
Yeah, Phoenix Dark Dirk. That was great.
And then just caves and goes, fine, I'm Roy. Oh, and Kel as the Invisible Boy.
Mm-hmm.
When you go invisible, you just feel it. And that whole power that he can't even look at himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was pretty funny. So I'm assuming, could be wrong, but I'm assuming that all these one-liners can be attributed to the writer of the movie. Probably somewhere contributed other places, but the writer of this movie is the same guy that wrote Hocus Pocus. Now we're swinging all the way around to the beginning of the show here. But he also wrote Adventures of Pluto Nash and Return of the Swamp Thing, which I have not seen. But I haven't seen Hocus Pocus either, so maybe I need to see this.
You haven't seen it?
Mm-hmm.
We might have to do an episode on it. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but it's an interesting movie.
Yeah, he wrote the screenplay of Hocus Pocus, so he didn't write the actual story. Have you seen The Adventures of Pluto Nash?
No, I have not.
Me neither. It's rated pretty low, but yeah, apparently he wrote that as well.
I am also very surprised that Tom Waits was in this movie.
Yeah, who did he play?
He was Doc Heller.
Yeah, the non-lethal weapons specialist. Say it with me. All right.
Heller. You have a Herkimer battle jitney?
That's the best non-lethal military vehicle ever. Oh, okay.
Junket.
And I loved his little celebration at the end by himself, right?
Yeah.
That's my team.
That's my team.
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's Tom Waits. And, I mean, first of all, awesome musician.
Mm-hmm.
He's also in a couple of different movies, but, like, all the movies he ends up in are just how, why, and yes, I'm happy.
Yep.
That's basically where I usually land with his stuff, is like, how did this happen? Why did this... You know what? Forget it. Yay.
Oh, okay. A lot of the quips come from the Sphinx, which are hilarious. I really liked a lot of his stuff because it is because it was so formulaic, which they point out and make fun of. You were going to say it, weren't you? That's what you were going to say. I love how they like, oh, we got to get the Sphinx. What is his special powers? He's terribly mysterious. Oh, and I heard he cuts guns in half with his mind, right?
Oh, I haven't heard that.
Which again, you're thinking, those are so disconnected things, right? But of course both of them happen. Of course it's foreshadowing.
But he is terribly mysterious.
He is terribly mysterious the whole time, and he cuts guns in half with his head one time.
I also do like that when they first introduce him, he's terribly mysterious. Mm-hmm. And but then you get a preview of who you think is going to be the Sphinx. But it's really Ballerina Man.
Oh, yes.
The tryout was just one of those wonderful scenes because you had so many just random snidbits of people who just showed up for a moment and then were gone.
Right. And great too, right? Like, I mean, even the Wafflers, Dane Cook, like that's another guy who's gone on to big things. Yeah. He's in there for 5 minutes, or well, maybe even less, and then he's off again, and he was pretty good in his own right. Like even the pencil head is Doug Jones, who now we know of as Saru in Star Trek Discovery. So yep, he started out here, and now he's playing Saru, which is pretty hilarious.
Would we really say that he started here?
Well, probably not. It's the first time I saw him.
Yeah, this was the first time I saw him. The first few things that he's listed in is like a couple of small things. Oh, he's in Hocus Pocus. It all comes back to Hocus Pocus.
They got a lot of famous people in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Michael Bay.
Michael Bay, the director. He was in here?
He was one of the frat boys.
Wow, I didn't know.
They did have a all-star cast for this.
I think one of the big things to me about this movie too is kind of the themes. I did like that this is a hero movie with the exception of minor superpowers, that anybody can be the hero here, right?
But he shovels well. He shovels very well.
Right. And I guess the Invisible Boy has a superpower.
And the spleen. Don't forget the spleen.
Yeah, he knocked out a few people.
It's silent but deadly.
So, again, with minor superpowers, you had a group of people come together to save the day, right? So the reason they won is because they decided they would come together. And actually, he said, I should have written this line down. What is it? William H. Macy says it at the very end. We came together through the act of the power of not bickering, which is right on the nail, I think. It sounds like any team.
The power of teamwork and the strength of not bickering or something along those lines.
Right, which is that hits it right on the head of any team that should be thinking about these stuff. Like, how do you get through this? The power of not bickering. Exactly. In fact, we were coming back from our leadership retreat, and I was watching this, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, we should have watched Mystery Men. Here's how we can get along. The power of not bickering.
But it comes down to trusting in your powers and trusting in the powers of your teammates.
Yes, I trust in the powers of my teammates. Sorry.
I trust in my powers.
I trust in my powers. I trust in the powers.
Oh,
that was such a good part. So many great. I mean, the lines are great. I've got a lot of lines written down here. But then all of that other stuff too, right? Like, that's got to be the actors too, right? Like, oh, Emmanuel. I mean, the face she puts on when she says that is great. Oh, Emmanuel. What am I doing with these watermelons on my feet?
I don't remember asking you to do that.
Because they follow through with all of that stuff too. Like, they didn't have to do that.
And even things like when Spleen comes up to the bowler in the bar and she just goes, "There's not enough beer in the world. I'm sorry, Spleen. I'm sorry." And like, it's just straight out there, just, nope, I cannot get drunk enough. Mm-hmm. But she apologizes a couple of times. Like, I still want to be a part of this team, but there's no way I'm ever getting drunk enough for you, Spleen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the big theme of teamwork is huge in this movie, and I think it runs through it. And I think that's another thing I like about it, is that it has very positive themes. Like you were saying about the whole Mr. Furious. Like, yeah, you can have your Furious superpower, but it doesn't have to control you. It doesn't have to be you. That can just be your superpower.
It also comes down to the fact that these are the others. These are the second string. Mm-hmm. These are the guys who should not be fighting somebody of the level of Casanova Frankenstein. But he eats that sandwich. Mm-hmm. And I think it comes down to the fact of saying, hey, we recognize that there are problems in the world and being willing to step up and take care of it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a good theme that could be touched on more of, hey, yeah, these people are not... They're not the first string. They're not your Batmans. They're not your Supermans. They are the ones who, like, nobody bets on. And yet they know that something has to be done, and they stand up and do it.
It's a very good message. Even the one guy at the cost of his family. Like, I think that's a very high cost, yet he's still deciding to do it.
Yeah, it's I have to do this.
Because if he doesn't do it, he might lose his family.
Exactly. Although, there was one line that I cannot agree with, and I have a problem with the way that this is said. And it is something that Lucille, the shoveler's wife, says. So, at one point, I think she says, "Honey, you shovel better than any man I've ever known before. But that does not make you a superhero. No, you listen to me. You are a good husband, a good father, but that's all. Nothing more." And that bothered me because simply the idea that being a good father and a good husband is not as important as being a superhero.
I see that as the failing of the woman. I think that's also something that she has grown out of toward the end of the movie, too.
Yeah, I think she grows out of that at the end of the movie to say, like, that's my husband. Mm-mm-mm. But it is that idea that, like, being a good father and a good husband, but that's all, nothing more, just seems a little...
It's overbearing. I think they're trying to play her as overbearing, too.
I get it. I think it's a big contrast to what the shoveler says later when he's actually, like, trying to give credit to the lady at the DMV.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where he's like, nah, the people who do the little things in our lives, they're the ones who are, like, the real heroes. And I think that's a big contrast between the two of them. That was just one small thing that I was like, oh.
So, where might they have gone if they had made a sequel? It's probably good they didn't.
Oh, it's definitely good they didn't, because I can tell you that, honestly, I think the big thing that they would need some new crisis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Probably because Captain Amazing is gone. All of the people who have been previously, like, in hiding or, like, not jumping into villainy, at that point they would come out.
Because he even mentions that things are a little less safe now that Captain Amazing was MIA, he said, right? So. Mm-hmm. So it would get even worse. But I think they would have to have stuck with the theme of teamwork, but they would have to have done it in a different way, probably. And I think that's going to be hard because it would look too much like rehashing.
Yeah, I think what it comes down to is if they were to stick with the theme of teamwork, they would have to have something break apart their current level of teamwork. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Because for a storyline to exist, there has to be some sort of conflict. If there's no conflict, there's no story.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, if I were to make a sequel for this, there's really two ways I could see it, and both simply would not interest me. Would either be a rift in the team, where one of them ends up basically on the opposite side. So one of them ends up being a villain for whatever reason. Whether that's for the sake of saving one person or doing something like that, and then the others have to fight against him and try to bring him back.
It's going to be like a Marvel Captain America Civil War.
That would be one option. The other option would be some sort of villain comes about and one person just doesn't want to fight this villain.
Yeah.
Those would be the two ways that I could see it being done, and neither of which I would really want to watch.
Yeah, it's good they didn't make another one.
I think they ended right where they should have. They ended at a place where everything seems good.
Mm.
And there's hope for the future, and we're not sick of it, so they just ended it there. They should not have made a second one, and I'm glad they didn't. Also, can I just say, may the forks be with us.
Did he say that? I forget.
He does, right before they drive off in the battle jitney.
Does
they say, may the forks be with us.
I missed that one. Oh my goodness. That's hilarious.
I mean, they're just so many awesome lines.
Not just fraculated. Psycho-fraculated.
He who questions training only trains himself at asking questions.
That's the line. If you start to doubt your powers, you're going to give power to your doubts. You were going to say it, weren't you?
We've got a blind date with Destiny, and it looks like she ordered the lobster. Hey, Dad, I'm going to my room with 3 strange men.
I know that line right.
Honestly, the thing that I really liked about that line was it introduced you and showed you exactly what he meant by after years of being ignored. Like, yeah,
yes.
Okay, we get you now.
Am I to assume that's your father's skull? Did you put your father's skull in the bullet ball?
No.
No. The guy at the pro shop said it.
Looks like the lone wolf rides alone.
It's an electronuclear magnet. It's the next inevitable phase.
All right, I'll take point. You two flank. Let's triangulate.
Isosceles or equilateral? Coming from Spleen 2? Oh my goodness.
Honestly, there's just so many great lines in this movie is the thing.
Have you seen my notebook? It was denim with the picture of a kid.
It says hang loose on it.
Yeah, because that's really in character for Mr. Furious. So many lines. And we would quote these in college.
Oh yeah, no, I still, every once in a while, will quote this movie. And that's the thing, is it's just one of those excellent movies that is just so quotable because it's got that dry humor, but also it's so absurd that it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I realize that we did quote a lot of the movie, but honestly, the movie is one of those really quotable movies.
And I think the quotes work because you're brought back to that scene.
Yeah, the quotes work because these characters, they're memorable.
Mm-hmm.
And the way they talk is it sticks.
Right, which is why we can say burn it now, right? And you, even though I don't say it like Nozzles did, you picture it like him.
Mm-hmm. You must lash out with every limb like the octopus who plays the drums.
Yes. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So,
how many weapons do you wield? Sorry.
You must be like the wolf pack, not like the six pack.
Yeah, that was a good one, because that one made less sense than the other ones.
But
he did go around saying a whole bunch of good stuff, and then he said that one. It's like, wait a minute.
But yeah, I mean, the fact of the matter is, this is a excellent movie that is quotable, but it is also funny because it dives into the quintessential tropes for superhero movies and turns them just enough.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I find it a great movie, and I think that the 65 in Metacritic is far too low for what this movie deserves, because
Yeah.
it's not trying to be a serious superhero movie.
No. But even in it, everything works, right? Of course, they get every character they need, has their own role. They play exactly what they need to play to succeed, right? They foreshadow exactly what we need to know what's happening later. Everything clicks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just a great movie for that.
And now I'm going back to graduate school. That was the deal.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it makes complete sense when she says it. They had to get the Invisible Boy for the one scene with the invisible thing. Like everything has a place and everything has a part and everything works together. I mean, probably works together too well, which again makes it silly, right?
We say this, but it's not like we haven't had other movies that, things are just a little too convenient.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Hey, follow the greater sun for a day.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. The convenientness of the movie adds to the silliness of the movie in this particular one. Of course, they have a thing that fries people because that's why they have an invisible boy. So, of course, the obstacle was made exactly for him.
Yeah. Great movie. Highly recommend it.
Enjoy it. Enjoy it more and more and more.
I just want you to know that we're not the super dudes.
That's it. We thank you for these mystery men. That's it. We're the Super Squad. I love that that's it. Because it's like, yes, that was the title. Yes, thank you.
No. Alliteration in these situations is way too corny.
The Super Squad.
What in the world is going on outside? This is a completely side note that you probably are not hearing, but it sounds like somebody is singing at the top of their lungs, having left the snack bar down the street.
No, I can't hear it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's like just singing or if he's like trying to serenade somebody from like the street. I'm just waiting for somebody to be standing outside a window holding up a boombox at this point.